Hey guys, my name is Matsumo, and today I want to bring up the topic of does there need to be an offensive healer added to the offensive team in Rainbow Six Siege? The reason why I bring this up is that I'm sure you guys noticed that with this new season, that Ubisoft made some pretty dramatic changes to resetting. I'm sure you guys know this tactic. If you get dropped down to 10 HP for whatever reason, you won an engagement, and then you ask your teammate to reset you. They drop you, put you in the down but not out state, and then they revive you back up to 50. This gets you into a much more comfortable position the next time you're trying to take someone out. Now, I'm assuming the reason why Ubisoft did this is that, first of all, it's not really realistic. I'm gonna shoot my teammate and then I'm gonna revive them and they're gonna have more health after that. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But I think the other reason is they just simply wanted to minimize the impact of this mechanic gameplay-wise. If you do down someone, you should be rewarded for doing so. Even if you're not able to finish them off right then and there, you know that if they do get revived, they're going to be at a severe disadvantage and one more round is going to take them out. I think that was kind of the direction that they wanted to take Siege, and I can agree from that standpoint. Now, with all of this being said, it begs the question, does this mean that offense now needs to have some sort of way to be able to regenerate their HP in the form of a new operator or as a secondary gadget? Now, I'm not going to go out and say that defense now all of a sudden has a massive advantage against offense because they can have Doc on their team, but it was a really big upgrade to Doc. Being able to revive your teammates back up to 75 HP when everyone else can only go up to 20 and just outright heal your teammates now swings things more into his favor. And so I think by introducing this new resetting mechanic, it opens the door for a lot more possibilities, and honestly, I think this could be a really cool addition for the offensive team to think about. Do we want to bring someone that's going to get through a reinforced wall, or do we just simply want to have the possibility to be able to revive our teammates or heal our teammates more effectively? Now, the real question is, though, is that if Ubisoft does introduce a new healing operator, how would they go about it? Now, if it's just simply a carbon copy of Doc, I feel like that'd be a pretty big disappointment. Honestly, it would be quite lazy. And so instead of doing that, they could just simply have someone that just straight up goes up to a character and then heals them. Maybe they're able to revive faster. They still have to go through the animation, but it's able to get your teammates back up on their feet quicker, and maybe they have more HP. The limiting factor of this operator, though, and it should be quite obvious, is that he has no range. Unlike Doc, who could literally revive someone from across the map, this guy isn't able to do so. And so to compensate for this weakness, maybe he's able to heal his teammates for more. Unlike Doc, who could only go up to 40 HP, maybe he can heal them for 50. That could be one way they go about it. Now, the only reason why I'm not really too fond of this idea is that it is very similar to Doc. Yes, he wouldn't be able to have the range, but everything else is practically identical. Another idea that I really like, though, is having some sort of gadget that you can throw down on the ground that would heal in an area. So all of your teammates gather around this gadget and they slowly regenerate a set amount of HP. The downside of this, though, is that you would be very vulnerable while doing so. Maybe it makes a lot of noise, so if you have a roamer in the wing, as soon as they hear this thing activated, they can round the corner and then you just have a bunch of people kind of clumped up, which would make for easy pickings. That would be a pretty big weakness. Now, you would need to make sure that the healing isn't too substantial. We wouldn't want to get to the point where you have all of your teammates clump on up and they get all back up to full HP. Like, that would be a bit too much. But if you had access to 2 of these, every so often he just throws them on the ground, regenerates some HP, and gets your teammates a little bit back into the action. I think that could be a really cool new mechanic. Ubisoft could even twist things on their head, and instead of actually bringing in a brand new operator that does all this healing, they could add in a secondary gadget. Just like what they did a couple of seasons ago with the new camera for a couple of the operators, now you have this other option. Do I want to bring in nades? Do I want to bring in flashes? Or do I want to be able to heal myself once or a teammate around me once? That could swing the things into our favor. This opens up a lot more possibilities that simply just are not possible right now. Another idea that I've heard bounced around the community, but I'm not 100% sold on it, but I wanted to bring it up because it is gaining some traction, is having an operator that can plop down a med bag at the start of a match, and then everyone goes up to it just like you would for rook plates, passes them around, and now you have kind of this secondary gadget to heal yourself in the middle of a match. The reason why I'm not entirely sold on this idea is that, first of all, everyone would need to be able to spawn in one spot at the very beginning. A lot of people like to hit objectives or spawn in different locations. You wouldn't really be able to get everyone in one spot all the time, especially if you're with a bunch of randoms. But on top of that, Ubisoft would need to be able to find an extra key button for this activation. I don't know if they'd be able to do that, especially with the limited amount of buttons that we have on console. Now, one way they could work around this is that this med station that you plop on down just heals you when you go on over and press a button. That way, you don't have to carry around another gadget that Ubisoft would need to add into the game, but it just straight out heals you. This would be kind of similar to the area effect gadget that we talked about earlier, but it would be this constant presence on the map. The downside of this kind of gadget is that it's not mobile. You plop it down and then you call it good. And so if you plopped it down on the outside of the map, if someone does need healing, they're gonna have to run on over and do it there. Or if you put it into the actual middle of the map while you're trying to push the objective, maybe a defender can come on over and use this gadget to heal himself. And so that could be another dynamic that we don't currently have. All in all, though, I'm really interested to see and kind of hopeful that Ubisoft eventually adds in some sort of healer into the game for the offensive team. Not only just simply because I think having an offensive healer would be a really cool addition, but also would add in some new dynamics that currently aren't in the game. I realize that some people might bring up Finka, but I've never really considered her to be a healer. Because it's temporary, it only gives you 20 HP for a short duration, it's never really fulfilled that healing role in my eyes, and so I'd like there to be at least some other options, or at least something a little bit different. But yeah guys, that is about it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this discussion. Let me know what you thought about this topic. Would you like Ubisoft to add in some sort of operator along these lines, and how do you think that they should go about it? Do you like the ideas that I talked about in today's video? Do you think that they'd be overpowered? How do you think they should implement a system like this? Let me know down below. But yeah guys, until next time, have a good one and take it easy.